Welcome, dear viewers, to CouchWarrior TV on YouTube. I am the CouchWarrior, and you're watching Arcane, a Skyrim Let's Play. Well, welcome everyone to the Chapter 1 and 2 Story Recap. Let me just start by going over where Fleet is now. As you can see, we've ascended from starting at level 10 in our storyline to acquiring, well, we're about halfway to 19. So where have we invested our perks? Thus far, we've got a couple of levels here in Armsman. We're working on that one-handed skill, primarily for use with our daggers, of course. Archery, very important, as always. Got a few levels in Overdraw, 3 to be exact. We've got our Eagle Eye and our Power Shot to try and stagger some enemies. These things are, necessities. You'll also find these linked in the show notes. So if you want to go back and review these, you'll find all the levels in the various skills we've acquired to date in the show notes, linked to Elder Stats. There's a profile in Elder Stats that should be up to date now. On the stealth side, we've taken 1 level in stealth. We've got our backstab going up the right side here, our deadly aim and assassin's blade. If you remember, I have elected not to spend any perks on those low-level stealth perks. So I'm going to save my perk points there, and I'm going to go straight up the right side and then straight up the left side, probably not all the way to the top. Now, so far, we haven't invested anything in alchemy. At the end of the last episode, I felt like I really needed to start getting serious about making these investments in crafting. If you remember, as we laid out this character, we are going to refrain from spending perk points initially in smithing, and we're going to focus on enchanting and alchemy as our primary crafting skills. So here we are in Illusion. We're working our way toward quiet casting to start with. So we're focusing on the right side of the constellation right now. We've got Novice Illusion, and we've gone up to, well, this center one here is probably one I'm going to go after too. I could see us using a lot of the illusion-based spells. We're going to need to kind of amp things up there. But so far, we've just done Novice Illusion and Animage. On the Conjuration side, we're focused on Mystic Binding right now. We're using bound weapons, specifically the bound bow, so investing in Mystic Binding is going to get us kind of where we need to go with getting a little extra damage with that bow. Soul Stealer, I don't think there's too many of these that I'm going to worry about early on. Right now I'm primarily concerned about just making sure that I can get the bound bow, and I think initially the rest of my spell focus is going to be in Illusion. And again, all of this stuff is going to be linked in the show notes. It's linked from the site. All the character stats, with the exception of perk selections, can be found in Elder Stats. The actual perk selections up to this point can be found on a different site. It's called Perk Calculator. You'll see that there as well. If you hop out there, you'll be able to see everything we've done so far. So if you're kind of looking to get a little background on where we're at with things, you can do that.
Come to see Balliman perform the finest.
So let's talk a little bit about story. So far, we've had 2 chapters worth of story plus a prologue. I think in total that should be 15 episodes. And there really is no specific plan for how many parts constitute a chapter for me. Really what I'm looking at is what I feel are interesting turning points. When I feel like the story has taken a significant turn, that seems like a good place to start a new chapter, right? So right now, we just wrapped up Chapter 2, Part 7, and the next episode to come after this recap will be Chapter 3, Part 1, of course. And we find Fleet at this point. We have started by traveling to Falkreath. We did a couple jobs for the Jarl there. We are not quite a Thane there, but we have the authority to purchase property there. Now, granted, we've been spending a lot of our money on spell books and gear and stuff like that, so it'll be a while before we purchase a house of any kind. But it's good to have the option, and I've been thinking all along that Fleet would be more likely, I think, to settle in that area around Falkreath, around the lake. That's a great spot. You'll notice that he has also continued to use the fur armor that he acquired very early on. He started the game with this armor, and he's continued to use the fur. I think it's perfect for what he's doing right now. He's not immersed himself so deeply in the Thieves Guild or any other organization that I see reason to change. He's very much still an outdoorsman. We spend a lot of time traveling between towns. So it just seems like the most appropriate set of armor for our game style right now. We do have a set of the Thieves armor. I'm not really too concerned about it. There are pieces of that I'm using when I need them, but I never wear the full set. And that's primarily for role-playing reasons. I think that at this point, Fleet is most interested in trying to remain as anonymous as possible, and he sees that as the most effective and efficient way to gather intelligence. Speaking of intelligence, what is it that we're gathering intelligence on? Well, for those of you who haven't been with us through the entire story so far, the premise is that Fleet, as you probably know, is a Breton, and he comes from a noble background. His father was a very well-off and well-respected battle mage. He was expected to follow in his father's footsteps, but he's flouted that, instead taking up with his friends and really kind of going from petty sort of crimes and vandalism up to what has become for him a way of life, which is a full-fledged criminal lifestyle. He is betrayed by his best friend, Linwe, during a botched robbery, and spends 2 years in prison stewing over that, where he escapes. And upon his escape, he runs as far away as he can to try to avoid recapture, which brings him here to Skyrim. And that's kind of where we start the story. His objective at this point, since the beginning, has been to find Linwe, who he believes is setting up shop here in Skyrim, and kill him in very ghastly and gruesome ways. So that's what we have to look forward to in the future of this character, Fleet. So that's kind of where the story is right now. At this point, he's entered Skyrim. He's done some investigation. One of the very first things that we discovered upon entering Skyrim was this rumor about a kid in Windhelm who was performing the Black Sacrament to try to attract an assassin from the Dark Brotherhood. Well, one of the things that Fleet sees as a priority is finding Linwe, who he understands will absolutely be immersed in whatever the criminal underworld is of Skyrim. Not knowing where to find the Thieves Guild, he has elected to pursue this lead for the Dark Brotherhood, thinking that there is more than one way to get into the criminal underworld of Skyrim. Along the way, he was able to acquire some additional information, which eventually brought him here to Riften. And it's pretty hard to enter the city of Riften without learning something about the Thieves Guild. They're so prevalent here, so important here. So, in sort of a backward way, our gathering of intelligence on the Dark Brotherhood has brought us here. Now, since arriving here, Fleet has participated in some criminal activities for the Thieves Guild. He's provided some muscle for them. He has beat down some deadbeats, recovered some money from those people, and he has kind of endeared himself to the Thieves Guild, and a gentleman named Brynjolf has taken him on as a protege. So our first official action for the Thieves Guild was to break into Golden Glow. That was not only for the Thieves Guild, but it was also for Maven Blackbriar, which we did in the last episode. So if you're interested in seeing that, check out Chapter 2, Episode 7. That episode is really all about the whole Golden Glow estate infiltration job, which went pretty well. We made the decision before we went in that he was going to eliminate Arengoth, the person who ran the place. So he performed that assassination. He raided the safe, got the deed, burned some hives, and this footage that you're seeing right now is the first set of activities that he's done since re-entering Riften. So at this point, we have not gone back to the Thieves Guild to tell them of our success or failure and get any additional missions. We're actually taking care of, a few things. We're leveling some of our alchemy skills. We're taking care of buying and selling some stuff, lightening our load a little bit, doing a little bit of smithing. So I figured this footage was a great candidate to just show as background noise for this recap. So how far has Fleet come? From a personality standpoint, he's still as vengeful as ever, and he is going to remain that way for quite some time. It's probably very unlikely that he is going to change until he is able to kill or capture Linwe. So I think we can expect more of the same in Chapter 3 from him. Vindictive, dangerous, and he's made the decision that he is going to pursue the Dark Brotherhood. Even though he has found the Thieves Guild, which was his ultimate goal from the beginning, he understands that the Dark Brotherhood is hunting him. So Chapter 3 should be pretty exciting. It's going to be all about extricating himself from this bad situation he has with the Dark Brotherhood. I hope you'll join us. Well, we've reached the end of this recap episode. I thank you for listening to all of my chatter about the background so far, and if you're a new viewer, I hope you'll join us for Chapter 3. Until next time, may all that you do be swift, quiet, and deadly, and to all Skyrim assassins, I salute you. Silence is our battle cry. You've been watching Aranis Arcana, a Skyrim Let's Play. If you liked this video, please rate, like, and subscribe. For more information on this and other CouchWarrior broadcasts, visit me on the web at www.couchwarrior.tv.